They both are residents at San Joaquin Gardens, and they've been doing some amazing stuff with, drum roll please, rocks. So, Harmony, before we get into your background, let's just give people a tease for what it is you're working on right now. Basically, you're going out and painting rocks. Is that the case?
That's right, yes.
And how long have you been doing that?
Just for about a month. Actually, my daughter introduced me to a project called Kindness Rocks Project. And she thought it might be kind of a fun project for me to do while I'm sheltering in place. And I asked Joyce Aiken if she'd be interested in joining me. And she decided that would be fun too. And so we did.
There's Joyce. Can you hear us, Joyce?
Yes, I can.
Great, great. So I will ask each of you to introduce yourselves. Harmony, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself as an artist?
My background, I started at about the age of 60 through an invitation from a friend of mine. She wanted to teach me how to paint in watercolor. And I had never really done anything other than coloring in grade school. And so how many years later, maybe 45, 55 years later, I took up watercolor. And that took me on a merry, merry road. I wound up working in sculpture, and from there to oil painting, and then from there to pastel, and now it's rock painting. There's never a dull moment.
I think we have some images to show of some of your work. But so you say you started as a painter and then you got into the sculpture.
Yes.
Which do you like the best? What is your...
My favorite medium is sculpting. And I just love to be able to create movement with the figures that I create. It's getting a little bit hard. It's heavy. I have my work cast in bronze, so it's really...
Okay, so here's one of your...
That one's called Hallelujah.
That's a very appropriate title.
I love the figure.
And what is the size of that?
About 18 to 20 inches in height.
So it's not huge size.
Yeah.
So sculpture is your level. That's interesting.
Yes, very much so. But in between times, I've learned how to paint in oil and then in pastel. It's a little less strenuous, and it works beautifully. One leads into the other, and I think it was wonderful to have the beginning lessons in watercolor, because it's just there are things that you learn from each of those media that you can put together.
Here we got.
For my grandchildren.
Oh,
4 little boys. They are now in their 20s, but at that time when I painted it, they
look a lot different now.
Rascally boys.
Oh, well, that's sweet.
Yeah, that's
and I think we have a couple more coming. This is another.
That's another family. My husband and another grandson. And what is it called? I can't remember what the name of it is, but just kind of sleeping in a hammock and enjoying life.
Okay. And it looks like one more. Let's do one more, Malcolm.
That's oil painting. I've been, a couple of years ago, I started painting a lot of birds. My work is over at the gallery called A Sense of Place. And so people may recognize some of the things that you've shown, because the sculpture of my husband and the grandchild is there. And then I don't know if this one has sold yet or not, but anyway, at this time, nothing is selling, but it was hanging there.
Probably something online, if you...
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that.
So Joyce, you've had a long and distinguished career as an artist and as an educator. Give us the brief version.
Okay. I started teaching at Fresno State in 1961, but I had earlier started in 1956 as a part-time instructor, teaching one semester at a time. And then I taught at Fresno State for 32 years. And then after that, I continued to teach for the university in London on their London semester program. And when I stopped doing that, I went on as the head of the Fresno Arts Council. And between all of that, Jean Ray Laurie and I did the mosaics on the Fulton Mall as a project starting when that first opened. And
we can all go down and still look at today. Do we have those couple images we could show?
And we did 19.
Yeah, everybody. Now, I just have to interrupt. Everybody's seen this, right? This is wonderful stuff.
This is probably 18 or 20 feet long. And they're both sides. There are 9 benches and 18 sides.
Right.
That started us on doing a lot of public art.
Right.
Continue with that.
You're a passionate proponent for the Fulton Mall.
Yes.
And it's great that we could still go down there and
they have relocated. And I took on a project called Honoring Death, and this is my coffin that I built earlier, and went on from there to shrouds and headstone and the whole business about the ritual of dying and death. So that was another long time project. I've worked on it from 1970 all the way up to recently. It's a lifelong job.
Yes.
Planning for your death.
And it looks like we have, let's take a look at one more. And this is some of your textile.
Most recently, I've been doing mandalas, which are meditation pieces. So they're usually very quiet. So it's probably been 40 or 50 years since I've done a painting. That's why it's so interesting now when Harmony brought me in on this project to start actually picking up a brush again and working and thinking so interests that we were looking earlier at Joshua's work with those huge paintings on the sides of buildings. And now you can see some of ours, which are like miniature paintings on rocks, baby rocks.
One thing that I learned from talking with both of you is that there is a perception that San Joaquin Gardens is just like in a state of lockdown right now, and that you're all just, staying inside your homes and not doing anything. But you want to kind of fight against that perception. Is that the case, Joyce?
Well, I think so. I think we both, Harmony and I, go out anybody can go out whenever you want to. We practice all those things that we need to for keeping safe and all, but sometimes I take my lunch and I go over and sit in the patio with my sister and we have lunch and then I come back. And so one of the things that we thought was important with this project is that we get people out of their apartments and looking for these little treasures that we have put around.
So Harmony, you paint the rocks and then you actually go and you put them in various spots on the campus. Is that the case?
We do. We've been doing it in sections. I don't know if we will do a campus-wide one after a while, but we've gone to 3 different locations now and put out about 20 rocks a week, and a little more, no less than that. Anyway, I haven't gotten any feedback other than just from a couple of people, so I don't know if people
but
are
you know that people are finding the rocks, right?
Because they're finding the rock, yes. And
so it's sort of like an Easter egg hunt, but with rocks.
That's essentially what it is.
So these are some examples. Now, are these yours, Joyce?
Harmony's.
Okay.
She's much more of a painter than I. Her rocks look more painterly than mine do. You can see the difference in a few minutes.
Joyce has beautiful patterns. And one of the things that I do, I don't know if you do this, Joyce, but on the back of each rock, I usually will have some kind of a word or a phrase that is uplifting or just a feel-good sort of thing. And that's part of the Kindness Project, is to make a difference, to make people, to bless people. And in the process of blessing people, we're blessed by doing and getting appreciated.
So you obviously have to have a certain kind of rock, right?
Any kind of rock.
Oh, but you're looking for sort of, I mean, you're probably going to reject some of your rocks, right? And say that's
these are some of my rocks. See, I'm working with a pattern. Harmony has found a source for rock, and so we try and find them that are smooth. It takes the paint better, and it really is easier for us to work. But I've had people come by when I've been outside and saying, "Thank you for the rock I just found." And then the other day, they told me that they had found a rock. They found 2 rocks and they gave one away. We encourage people to take them back and put them in their garden, or to leave them for someone else.
It's really a way to, like you say, spread good cheer. Has this project made you think differently about rocks? I mean, I know most of us walk by rocks every day and never even think about them or look at them. But it's probably raised your consciousness just in terms of when you see a good rock.
It's so true. Now when I take a walk, my eyes are on the ground constantly looking to see if I can find a little treasure to paint. It's really quite fun. It's opened up a whole new avenue for me.
So Harmony, you have a special rock to show us that is in the shape of, you like the shape, and you went.
Well, one of the things I like to do is look at the shape of a rock and see if it reminds me of something. And this little one, let me see if I can get it up here for you. Oops. This one, when I looked at it, reminded me of a small car. So what I decided to do was paint an image of a car on it. Can you see this okay?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it looks beautiful. That is so cute.
Well, it's just kind of fun. I have another little one that
looks like the battery on yours works, probably.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
It looks like my Prius, except yours has a battery that works.
Right. Here's another little one that I painted. It's just an interesting little shape, but I saw a car there also. So this is what I wound up painting.
So you did tell me that rock painting it's not a new thing. In fact, people, I think all across the country during quarantine are painting rock.
You know, I discovered it's an international activity. And I didn't realize that until I decided to look it up this afternoon and see, you know, how far it's gone. I knew that in the United States it was an active project, but worldwide.
But what's different is that you're painting the rocks and you're leaving those rocks for other people in your complex. And I just think that is exceptional. I really love that idea.
Sometimes it's really hard to give a rock up because you painted it and you look at it and you say, oh, maybe I'll just keep this one.
It's like
half a dozen that I can't give up.
Exactly.
I've never painted a rock before. I haven't done a painting for 40 years. So maybe it's something like, oh, this will bring back some new ways of working.
Well, beautiful patterns. Her patterns are so pretty that they are hard to give up. That's for sure.
Well, it's a great idea, and I hope maybe this show will inspire some other listeners to go out, find some rocks, and
it's very easy.
Find that.
So.
Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
A delight. And say hi to everybody at San Joaquin Gardens.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce and Harmony. That was pretty awesome, Donald. They're doing all kinds of crazy stuff over there.
They're mixing things up.
That's rad. It's nice to know that like this journey as an artist can continue for a really long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was delightful. And the cars were so cool. Like I would like to have one for myself.